everyone. My name is Matthias. I'm leading the Amazon Pay business in Germany. And in the next 50 minutes, I want to cover three things with you. So the first one is, how do we innovate at Amazon? Second is, how does Amazon Pay work? And the third one is, how do we innovate in Amazon consumer payments? So I think Amazon has done a pretty good job over the almost last 30 years of being a very innovative company. And if you look at the driving force behind that, it becomes very clear that it's our customer-focused culture. So, and I'm within this company for 15 years and in different roles, and I met so many companies, and most of them actually would claim that they are very customer obsessed. And I believe, a lot of them, try to be customer obsessed, but I think the real challenge is actually to incorporate that statement into your daily business. And the way we solve that at Amazon are our leadership principles. The first leadership principle we have at Amazon is customer obsession. So we start with the customer and work backwards. So if we look at AWS, for example, that's our Amazon Web Services businesses, we know that 90% of the new features they released are based on customer feedback. So super important source. But again, this raises the question, how do you incorporate or convert that feedback basically into innovation? And there are three things actually we do at Amazon, which I like to talk about. So the first one, you really need to understand your customers. And what I mean by that is, look at the data and look at anecdotal feedback and use this also as a guidance for decision making. So for example, when I'm, in a meeting with my leadership and we come, to make a decision, we always ask ourselves, if the customer would be in that room, in that meeting, how would the customer decide? And this gives you, I think, a very clear direction of where to go. And sometimes, this might be very painful because it's very cost intensive and we might not even do it sometimes, but at least you have a very clear direction. And finally, if we have an offline meeting, right, so real people with real chairs and real desks, we always leave a seat empty for the customer. And over the last years, we even have, pillows which are stating, customer, which are on that empty chair. Nobody dares obviously to sit on this chair. And yeah, that's what also remembers us to always think about the customer. The second one is the concept of the 5 whys. So what I mean by that is, if you want to innovate, you really need to understand the defects in your company or defects of processes, and you need to understand the root cause, basically. And the 5 whys help you to understand the root cause. I'll give you an example. So when I was leading the furniture category back in 2013, 14, we had a vendor that was delivering us quite successful with office chairs. And at some point, the vendor added office desks as well. We saw a fantastic increase in sales spikes, after the selection was first time shipped to customers. But a couple of days later, we saw also a heavy increase of the customer returns. So we asked ourselves, why that customer returns? And when we looked into the structure, the product mix, wasn't a big surprise. The driver of that customer returns were that new selection, the office desks. So we checked customer feedback. What did customers say about this new office desk? And what they basically telling were, we only received 1 box, but we saw the manual and it said, there should be 3 boxes because we need to assemble the office desks. So again, we asked, in this case, the fulfillment center, why the hell do we only send 1 box to the customer? And the fulfillment center basically told us, because we only received 1 box. We received 1 box, we store 1 box, we ship 1 box to the customer. But there are plenty of boxes of that vendor in our problem receive area. So in the fulfillment center, you have an area, where products are stored that cannot be connected to some products. And again, we ask, why are there so many products or boxes in the problem receive area? And the easy answer was because they don't have a label on it. And then we got back to the vendor and said, dear vendor, why don't you label all these boxes? And they said, we only deliver this product normally to offline stores, and they only need the label on the first box. Like offline retailers label, the other boxes themselves. But for online, obviously, this process didn't work. So we got to understand the root cause. It was a straightforward fix. Boxes were all labeled the next time we received the goods, and all went well. So the next thing are mental models. That's a bit of an abstract one. So it's basically a cognitive framework that helps you or that illustrates, how a process should work in the real world. I'll also give you an example to make it a bit more clear. So back in 2006, I guess, someone at Amazon had the great idea to launch a new product called Amazon Pay. And, probably had a look at customer feedback, had, this model in his mind. But then the question is, what would you do next with this great idea? And what we do at Amazon is we write PR FAQs. What is a PR FAQ? A PR FAQ is basically a document that has two pillars. One is the press release, and the other is the FAQs. So the press release actually covers how does your innovation come to life. It's basically a leap into the future, and you illustrate, how the product works. And for example, in the press release, we would have the headline, Amazon announces that, customers can now use the Amazon Pay checkout experience at merchant websites. And then we would describe, how the process works, but importantly, we don't describe it from our angle, the Amazon angle. We always would describe it from the customer angle. So how would we solve a customer problem? How would the customer experience be like? To make sure, we're working on the right thing. And then you have the FAQ part. In the FAQ part, we would answer a lot of critical questions, obviously, like, what problem do we solve? Why should we do this now? What are the risks, opportunities, and so on and so on. And this FAQ, this PR FAQ, is basically then used as a base for all further discussions in the company. So, with the leadership team, with peers, with all the stakeholders, basically, and you develop the PR FAQ, with all these engagements and interactions. And at some point, it comes to a decision, will we take, the risk and, make a service or product out of this, or will we drop it? Very clear process. We always do this when we talk about innovation. Last thing I want to mention on innovation, I think it's important to understand that innovation and failure are very much connected with each other. And we fail a lot, actually, at Amazon. And that's a good thing, as said, because otherwise there wouldn't be innovation. And we are really encouraged as a leadership team, basically everyone that is working in the company, to innovate and also to fail. And I really like that statement of Jeff Bezos. And before I get to that, by the way, I think going back to the panel we had yesterday was also the question whether ChatGPT can predict the future. And the answer obviously is no. It can't. And even if we build the best models, we'll never be able to predict the future. So there's always a risk to any decision or any innovation we're going to take. So going back to the idea, failure and innovation are very much connected. And this is the quote that Jeff Bezos actually once said. I'll read it down here for you. Failure and innovation are inseparable twins. To invent, you have to experiment, and you know in advance. And if you know in advance that it's going to work, it's not an experiment. It's a real good one. Okay, now over to Amazon Pay. What is Amazon Pay? So the aim of Amazon Pay is to deliver a unique purchase experience, a superior purchase experience, and it's both for the merchants and the consumers. And in case you haven't heard a lot about Amazon Pay, I brought a quick video that gives you a bit more details.
Amazon Pay is more than a payment button. It has the same checkout technology found on Amazon.co.uk, bringing the fast, secure, and familiar Amazon.co.uk payment experience to your customers without them leaving your site. And with more than 200 million Prime members worldwide, adding Amazon Pay gives your business the opportunity to tap into a loyal, highly engaged customer base. Amazon Pay's checkout solution has been shown to be 49% faster than regular checkouts. Our powerful checkout technology reduces cart abandonment and is easy on your technical resources, helping you upgrade seamlessly to the latest innovations and features from Amazon.com. Amazon Pay's well-known A to Z guarantee makes shoppers feel comfortable and safe when purchasing from your site. For you as a business, the payment protection policy helps protect you from the negative impacts of chargebacks. We disperse payments to your chosen account on a daily basis, pending any reserves. The Amazon Seller Central dashboard is completely self-service, allowing you the freedom and flexibility to gather the information you need at any time. Here, you can dive deep into transaction reporting, including settlements, balances, refund status, fees, available funds, and find out when you'll get paid.
Good. So as said, we both address merchants and buyers with our solution. So if we go into the details for merchants, so why should merchants use Amazon Pay? I think one of the most important arguments is the customer base that we bring to merchants. So overall at Amazon, we have 300 million active accounts, and we know that out of these accounts that use Amazon Pay, 75% are Prime buyers. And we know that Prime buyers actually spend a lot more than an average buyer online, so higher AOVs, more frequency, they produce less fraud. So it's really a premium base that we are bringing to your store as a merchant. And even if the space is very committed to Amazon and likes to buy on Amazon, there are still plenty of reasons why that buyer base would not buy on Amazon. Think of categories that we don't offer at Amazon, like ticketing, travel, holdout selection that we don't have because brands don't want to sell on Amazon, or sometimes even we might be out of stock on Amazon and don't offer the best price for certain products. So I can tell you, Prime buyers will buy outside of Amazon, and this is the beauty of Amazon Pay because it brings together the great checkout experience these buyers are using Amazon.de with the merchants' own experience. Fraud prevention is another, I think, super important asset that we have. Obviously, we use the same buyer risk prevention models that we use for our own website, like Amazon.de, Amazon.com. And yeah, we have a lot of data. We know a lot of stuff about our buyers. That's why we're also very confident, when making these authorization decisions. And this brings me to the next point. We offer 100% payment protection for physical goods in case we authorize a transaction. Small caveat on this, the merchant needs to bring a shipping confirmation, which is normally not a big thing. But then your payment is 100% protected as a merchant. Faster checkout, I think we've seen this in the video. If you think of abandon rate in the checkout, if you read Baymart studies, it's very clear that customers, don't like to add a lot of data. This is where the express solution of Amazon Pay kicks in. It's if you want, a one-click checkout or 2 or 3 clicks, very fast and convenient. And that's why it has obviously also an impact on more sales. On more sales, I think it's also important that we offer obviously a faster checkout, but we also bring a lot of payment instruments with our wallet. So it's not only cards. We have direct debit, we have installments, credit line, monthly invoice depending on the country. So a lot of interesting assets for a buyer to use. A lot of convenience we bring with our wallet to buyers, and obviously merchant then benefit from the more sales we generate with that. User affinity is the last one I want to mention. 93% of the buyers say they want to use Amazon Pay again because they had a great experience. So yeah, frequent buyers you have then in your store. Why would consumers choose Amazon Pay? I think we covered a lot of these. As said, the ease of use. You don't need to create a dedicated account. You can just use the Amazon account to check out with Amazon Pay on the merchants' websites. Transaction speed, we talked about that. And security is also an important thing. As said, we give the payment protections to merchants, but we likewise give an A to Z guarantee to our buyers, which basically states that we will support the buyers if they have friction with the shipment. And depending on the case, we sometimes also do the 100% reimbursement if we think it's not the buyer's fault that something went wrong. Okay, these are the steps. We've seen this in the video. I skipped this. Some brands that we are working with. I think it's important to understand that we want to work with all kinds of merchant businesses, whether you're a super small business or a large enterprise. I think we always have a good solution for your store. We also work with partners, commerce solution providers, PSPs. So always interested, into new partnerships. And obviously, We work, in all kind of different industries, so not only focus on consumer goods, but also digital. Okay, very quickly, because I have not a lot of time left, innovation in consumer payments. Amazon Go is a very interesting one. The first Amazon Go store was basically built in Seattle. It's an offline experience where you use your Amazon account, create a QR code, check in the store. And if you're in the store, a virtual avatar is basically built, and this virtual avatar is tracked throughout the store. And whenever you put things out of a shelf or back in the shelf, it adds to a virtual shopping cart. So the experience is you check in, with your wallet, you grab some stuff, and you just walk out, and the payment is processed. So very interesting offline experience that we also expand now to different businesses. We call it Just Walk Out. I think in Germany we run a couple of tests with football stadiums actually quite successfully. So it always is a reasonable solution for for places where you normally need to queue for a long time because people hate queuing, obviously. Amazon One is basically an enhancement of Amazon Go. So what it does actually is it connects your digital wallet with your palm. So you can enter a store and check in with your palm instead of any device. And basically have the same experience, with the avatar, the virtual shopping cart. And yeah, I think it's fantastic because it's completely deviceless. So let's see whether this also flies in Europe. And the last one is Buy with Prime. Some of you might have heard that. It's also available, unfortunately, only in the US right now, but I'm pretty sure it's coming to Europe as well. It basically connects payment with shipping. So merchants are allowed to use the Amazon Prime button on the website when they store goods, the goods they sell to the customers, when they store it in an Amazon fulfillment center, or if they use Amazon Freight for their pickup. So we connect basically the delivery experience with the payment experience. All right, that's what I had for today. Our Amazon Pay booth is right out the room on the left side. This was probably Amazon on steroids in 15 minutes. So we're pretty much interested in getting in contact with you. So my team and I would appreciate, if you check by on our store, on our booth. Yeah, and I said, that's it. Thank you for listening to me. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.